People with small hearts often lash out at others simply because they can't handle their own pain. They can't bear their own struggles, so they can't tolerate the flaws or mistakes of others. On the other hand, people with big hearts are willing to accept others' shortcomings and mistakes because they've already learned to accept their own. Those with small hearts focus on other people's weaknesses, seeing them as obstacles that must be fought against or eliminated. But people with big hearts see these flaws as natural, just a tiny fraction of the much bigger picture of who a person really is. Because of that, they can accept those flaws easily, sometimes even without giving them a second thought, especially when they're harmless. Someone with a small heart tends to magnify every mistake, seeing it as unbearable. But a person with a big heart looks at the same mistake and either sees it as minor or carefully assesses the actual harm it causes without exaggerating it. A small heart can't truly guide or lead someone with a big heart. But a big heart, they can absolutely guide someone with a small one. People with small hearts are quick to accuse and eager to punish mistakes, sometimes even when the wrongdoing has nothing to do with them and causes them no harm. Meanwhile, people with big hearts respond with compassion. They want to understand, to listen, and to help others fix their mistakes. A small heart struggles to forgive anyone who's hurt them. A big heart may not be able to forgive right away either, but they're always trying to expand their heart enough to include the person who caused them pain, without seeking to hurt them back. People with small hearts are easily wounded. People with big hearts, it takes a deep, significant attack to really shake them. And when they do feel hurt, it's not because they've been defeated, but because they're still learning how to fully embrace the situation. And even when they are wounded, they focus on healing themselves first, rather than rushing to strike back just to feel satisfied. This is something a small-hearted person often can't comprehend. Small-hearted people sometimes find joy in others' failures, mistakes, or public humiliation. They may even feel a thrill when they see someone pushed into a corner. But a big-hearted person does the opposite. They imagine themselves in the place of the one being shamed. They seek to understand, to empathize, to feel compassion, to protect, and to offer a way out, without needing to justify it with any grand reason. Small hearts crave the downfall of others. They enjoy watching someone collapse under their mistakes. But people with big hearts never build their happiness on someone else's suffering. Even if they must speak up against wrongdoing, they don't let that turn into hatred for the wrongdoer. Small hearts tend to ignore their own faults or come up with endless excuses to deny them. Big hearts, in contrast, are ready to admit when they're wrong. They accept the consequences, sometimes even holding themselves accountable before anyone else does. Because small hearts also have small courage, they fear admitting their mistakes, even when they know the fault is entirely theirs. Big hearts, however, think about others first, especially about those who might be unfairly blamed or harmed. And so they have the courage to admit faults, even if it means taking the blame for someone else. People with small hearts put their own interests above everything else. They avoid anything that might harm them, even something as simple as speaking up honestly to defend a good person who's being treated unfairly. People with big hearts do the opposite. They think about the common good and often prioritize others over themselves. And they're always ready to shield and protect those who are vulnerable. A small heart has a narrow perspective. It tends to see others as suspicious or dangerous. A big heart has a wide perspective. It sees everyone as a potential friend, a potential teacher, someone worth learning from. Small-hearted people often think big-hearted people are strange, fake, or unrealistic. Big-hearted people, on the other hand, see small-hearted people as naive or immature. Small hearts like to pile up more trash to bury the flowers. Big hearts like to take that trash and use it to grow more flowers. Small hearts can only connect to coarse, heavy energies. Big hearts can connect to subtle, pure energies. This is why big-hearted people receive great blessings and protection from the natural forces of the universe, shielded from harm in ways small hearts may never understand. Some people's hearts are like a flowing river. Others' hearts are just a small bowl of water. But here's the miracle. The capacity of any heart is never fixed. It can shrink until it's as small as a demon's, or it can expand until it's as vast as a saint's. And that depends entirely on each person's choices and the effort they put into training their heart. With an infinite heart, you can embrace the greatest happiness life has to offer. In life, we all need to keep a willing heart. Why? So we can let the winds carry away what doesn't matter. So we can live with kindness. Because at the end of the day, living with a heart like that means we're not just surviving, we're truly alive. When you carry a big heart, you start to notice something powerful. Life stops feeling like a constant battle against others. You no longer waste your energy hunting for people's flaws or building walls to protect your ego. Instead, your focus shifts toward understanding, growing, and helping. Small hearts, though, they get stuck in a cycle. They guard themselves so fiercely that they're always on the lookout for threats, even when there aren't any. Their energy is spent on defense, suspicion, and proving themselves right. The problem is, the more they focus on defending, the less space they have for truly living. Think about it. When someone with a small heart sees another person make a mistake, their first instinct is to call it out, spread it around, and make sure others notice. It's almost as if they feed on the drama. But someone with a big heart pauses. They ask, why did that happen? What might this person be going through? How can I help them find a better path? This difference in perspective changes everything. Because the truth is, a mistake doesn't define a person. It just reveals where they're still learning. And a big heart knows that offering understanding is often more powerful than punishment. Of course, a big heart doesn't mean you ignore wrongdoing or stay silent when harm is being done. It means you confront it without letting bitterness take root. You stand for what's right without losing your compassion for the one who went wrong. Small hearts often shy away from admitting fault because they see it as weakness. They fear the judgment, the loss of image, or the discomfort that comes with taking responsibility. Big hearts see it differently. Admitting fault is a sign of strength because it shows you value truth more than pride, and it goes deeper. Big hearts sometimes take on the blame to protect someone more vulnerable. They do it not because they enjoy suffering, but because they understand that sometimes shielding another person can give them the chance to grow and change without being crushed by shame. People with small hearts think mostly about themselves, their comfort, their security, their gain. They hesitate to speak up when someone else is being treated unjustly, if it might put them at risk. People with big hearts, however, see the bigger picture. They know that silence in the face of harm is a form of harm itself. So they speak, they act, they take the risk, not for applause, but because it's the right thing to do. The way you view the world also changes with the size of your heart. A small heart sees danger everywhere. Strangers feel like potential threats. Opportunities look like traps. Life feels like something to survive, not enjoy. A big heart, it sees possibility. It sees the lessons in every interaction. It sees that even people who are difficult or flawed can teach us something valuable. This doesn't mean a big heart is blind or naive. It means it chooses trust over paranoia and openness over fear. And here's something ironic. Small-hearted people often think big-hearted ones are fake. Nobody can be that forgiving, they say. Or, they're just pretending to be kind. But that's because they can't imagine living in a way that doesn't revolve around self-protection and judgment. Big-hearted people, on the other hand, don't waste time trying to convince small-hearted people of their sincerity. They understand that perspective is shaped by the size of the heart, and it's something each person has to grow for themselves. When your heart is small, even little things feel huge. An offhand comment feels like an insult. A mistake feels like betrayal. And so you respond with defensiveness, anger, or revenge. But when your heart is big, the reverse happens. Big problems feel smaller. You gain the ability to see beyond the moment, beyond the sting, into the bigger truth. Most things are not worth losing your peace over. A big heart turns setbacks into lessons, pain into understanding, and even trash into something that can grow beauty. While small hearts bury flowers under garbage, big hearts use that same garbage as fertilizer. The same challenges that make a small heart bitter can make a big heart wiser. It all comes down to energy. Small hearts resonate with heavy, coarse energy, the kind that feeds on conflict, gossip, and resentment. Big hearts vibrate at a lighter, purer energy, one that attracts blessings, protection, and peace. This is why big-hearted people often seem to have a certain resilience, a kind of invisible shield that life's storms can't easily break. But here's the best part. No one is born with a fixed heart size. It's not like eye color or height. Your heart's capacity can shrink if you let fear, bitterness, and self-interest take over. But it can also expand infinitely if you choose compassion, courage, and understanding. Imagine your heart like a container. If you only ever keep enough space for yourself, you'll live in constant scarcity. There's never enough patience, enough trust, enough love. But if you keep expanding your capacity, you start to notice something amazing. The more room you make for others, the more peace and joy you have for yourself. And yes, having a big heart takes practice. It's not about pretending to be kind. It's about training your mind to pause before reacting, to question before judging, and to choose empathy even when it's hard. Because with an infinite heart, life's greatest joys aren't found in winning or being right. They're found in connection, in giving, and in knowing that you can face this world without being hardened by it. Having a big heart doesn't mean life will never hurt you. If anything, you'll feel things more deeply because you allow yourself to stay open. But here's the difference. You don't let that pain make you smaller. You use it. You learn from it. You let it refine who you are instead of hardening you. When a small heart is hurt, its first reaction is to shut down. Walls go up, trust disappears, and life becomes about avoiding pain at all costs. But that also means shutting out joy, love, and connection. A big heart, on the other hand, learns to let the storms pass through. It may bend, but it doesn't break. A big heart isn't about being endlessly soft or letting people walk all over you. It's about strength. Strength so steady that you can afford to be kind without fearing you'll lose yourself in the process. When a mistake happens, a small heart thinks, "How could they do this to me?" A big heart asks, "What might they have been going through?" That question doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it opens the door to understanding. And understanding can be the first step toward real change. Small hearts often see forgiveness as weakness, as if letting go means the other person wins. But big hearts know forgiveness is for yourself. It's how you put down the heavy weight of anger so you can keep moving forward. A small heart hides its flaws, terrified that being seen as imperfect will destroy its image. A big heart admits its mistakes because it knows growth only happens when you face the truth head-on. With a small heart, your world feels tiny. Every challenge is personal. Every disagreement feels dangerous. But with a big heart, your world expands. You start seeing patterns instead of just problems. You notice that even the people who frustrate you are carrying invisible burdens. This shift changes how you live. A big heart doesn't snap at strangers because it knows there's always more to the story. It speaks up when someone's being treated unfairly, even when it's uncomfortable. It protects the vulnerable, not for recognition, but because it's simply the right thing to do. A small heart finds satisfaction in seeing someone get what's coming to them. A big heart finds joy in seeing someone rise again after they've fallen. One feeds on endings, the other invests in new beginnings. Your heart's size shapes the quality of your life far more than your accomplishments, possessions, or reputation. The bigger it grows, the more it can hold. More love, more peace, more strength. And when you hold more, life can take less from you. Some people's hearts are like wide, flowing rivers. Others are like small cups of water, easily emptied, easily spilled. But here's the truth. Any heart can change. It can shrink until it's cold and rigid, or it can expand until it feels endless. And that change is a choice, one you make in the small, ordinary moments. Each day you choose between protecting your pride or opening your heart, between suspicion and trust, between payback and mercy, between judgment and understanding. Every choice adds to your heart's capacity or takes away from it. When your heart expands without limit, you discover a kind of happiness that isn't tied to whether life goes your way. You can hold both joy and pain without being destroyed by either. That's why living with a big heart matters, not just for others, but for you. Because the bigger your heart, the richer your life becomes. So keep a heart that's open. Let go of what doesn't need to stay. Lead with kindness, not because it's simple, but because it's powerful. In the end, what we leave behind are the moments we gave, the times we chose empathy over judgment, and the lives we touched along the way. That's what turns survival into something far greater, into a life worth remembering.